My name is Amy Nguyen, and so today I will be presenting a topic about AI, which stands for Artificial Intelligence, and I will um, stop video and share my PowerPoint. So particularly, I want to be focusing on AI in accounting and a finance industry. So before going too deeply about how AI contribute to accounting and finance, I want to talk about the functions of an AI as an overall. So at the beginning and also in class, we also say that AI allows the machines to learn from experience, interpret information, make adjustments, and apply what they know to perform a human-like task. So there are four functions based on my research that AI covered. So which are machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and computer vision. And so because I am focusing on the data analytics perspective, I will be focusing with machine learning, deep learning, and machine reasoning. So machine learning gives the computers the ability to recognize and apply patterns to develop algorithms that they can fine-tune based on feedback. An example is the way that Netflix can offer the suggestion of what to watch based on our viewing history. So on the other side, deep learning can be like developing the ability to identify relationships and associations. So in this case, I will touch on the emails and messages of how those are very important in the industry. And I will also touch on how AI can actually think of the implications of that data and analyze it with the machine reasoning. But lastly, I will not touch on natural language processing in this case, just because it does not affect much on the accounting and finance industry. But I will say that it is now that it is technology that can help foreigners to understand and translate it into another language, and that's what the function of natural language is. And so the question here I have is how AI is used in the accounting and finance. So as you can see, I have two pictures. There's one on the top of the robot touching the calculator, and on the bottom is like the traditional paper calculating accounting. So nowadays, lots of accountants rely on the software to analyze the data and calculate faster than ever before. And yet there are still some companies decide to use a traditional calculating for accurate numbers. But most of the company now work with technology to do it faster and more efficiently, and as we continue to live on with the technology era. So I was amazed by how much we have changed from the traditional to the modern technology today. So there's always one question on my mind is, do you think that AI technology will do the same thing as what humans do with the work? So let's find out more. So when AI is introduced, it can eliminate some of the mundane tasks that accountants must do. So for an example, it can digest and analyze the large volumes of data at faster than human speeds, interpret contracts or deeds, extract the key terms and analyze them, and occasionally solve the problems that couldn't be solved before. So for an example, if an accounting firm is tasked with the complex issues regarding billing systems of multiple clients, AI machine learning can rifle through that data and flag the problem accounts even if the systems are disparate. So here's a video that I want to show. It is an opinion on of two companies known as the ACCA and the EY. It led the debate on the impact of the digital and artificial intelligence on audits and finance professionals. So ACCA and EY are the professional accounting organization that offering the charter certified accounting qualification. So here's on the video that they talked about, and I will show that right now.
Better, how to develop better our capacities, and also to be more efficient, efficacy, more competitive. So I know that we all feel fear from AI, but it is very important to somehow think all the time on the one goal, and the goal is that we should develop AI in a way that it support and improve human lives and professional capacities.
Well, my main message is that the audit opinion has behavioral aspects related to it because it involves human judgment. Now, whenever there is judgment, there might be, cognitive limitations. Now, in the setting of big data and analytics, this is an important thing because we don't really know what these cognitive limitations will be when auditors are confronted with big data. How can we solve this? Well, we can do research on this, and this is what my message is. Let's do research on this and develop appropriate tools such that audit quality can be improved.
So,
that is rapidly changing.
and I will change back to my PowerPoints. So from the professor of Marlene Willikin's ideas, so we can hear that AI can help workers to rely on and to do faster at a faster speed of, collecting data and translating the data at each time, and they can generate a report maximizing the efficiency. And AI can place the appropriate accounts because it understands the differences in categories. And at the end, she also talked about how human cognitive minds sometimes can even think about the process of translating or coding or analyzing the data, but the AI can. And an example of how do we out of account actually do that, I will also include it in the later of the presentation of an Excel formula and video. And another video that I want to show is how actually AI can help accountant to speed up the process as finalizing or finding accounts that fit for that lease contracts for that specific customer. I will show that right now.
Sophisticated machine learning-based models, auditors can also improve fraud detection. The audit is said to be further transformed by deep learning, a form of AI that can analyze unstructured data such as emails, social media posts, and conference call audio files. An example of how AI can be applied to the audit is in contract review. Machine learning tools allow humans to analyze a larger number of contracts such as leases in a much shorter time frame than is possible with a traditional manual review. In a recent pilot, AI tools were able to accurately extract information from lease contracts using pre-selected criteria in the vast majority of cases, a higher level of precision than the average human reviewer is capable of. By making it possible for auditors to work.
So from the video, I can say that the machine learning based on the models, the auditors can also improve, as on the video of the EY said, that it can improve the fraud detection. So there's one experience that I had with my own internship. So luckily I got a chance to work in an accounting department over in Vietnam. And I remember that each of the accountant in the team have and I was also continue with the video, that I got a chance to work in accounting department over in Vietnam. And I remember that each of the accountants in the team have the specific password inside inside the computer, inside the data, where nobody can enter the system, which helps a lot for protecting customer information. So furthermore, in the video, the EY Global video talks about the use of AI in communication. So I do think that communication and accounting and finance are very important because it can help worker to follow up with the idea and call for the needs as with their colleagues and or managers inside the company. And because AI can do some of the tasks that humans normally do, and I would also return back to my so because AI can do some of the tasks that humans normally do, some lower level position could be affected. And yet AI will not replace accountants, and AI can take on the tedious works that takes up so much time, data entry and reconciliation, and will also eliminate errors and reducing liability with the mundane tasks that AI handled. accountants will be free to engage in more advisory roles. They will be able to focus on strategies, process improvements, and cost control and capital optimization, and will still have the control over the sensitive information of their customers. So as I was saying earlier, so what are some of the accounting software that lots of companies that use it now? So there are 3 pictures that I have on the screen. So the left is the spreadsheets, normal Excel worksheets. On the right side, on the top, is a QuickBooks. It's the same thing as an Excel. From Word, but it's just a difference that it gives the colors, and there's more like functions, so as to click on like the click on functions, and also the ERP software, which is the same thing, but I can pretty sure that all of this they have different formulas, as adding, subtracting, and coding as to get at the end they will get the same numbers. And here is the simple example of auditors and accountants of how workers would finalize the data into an Excel, which is I will share a video right now. We'll stop that, and right here. And so here is a example that you can see, and she is an accountant of a company where auditors, she looked at the data and how did she collect that and put it in like a pivot table to and to calculate like the sum of Dallas. And so here's, and also show like the original data. It's loading. So while waiting for it to load, so the original data is like so here's the original data that's from Dallas, and here is some of the and so from Canada, and she will put this into a pivot table, and so that it's more easier and faster as just calculating the sum of Dallas. And here I'll also show it right now. Okay.
Example, you're going to select all of the information you want to include in a pivot table. So I'm going to press Shift to the right key.
And that was so that
So
a little bit more.
all of my headers, and then I'm going to push.
I'll turn off the volume. So as you can see right here, she copy and paste it into a different sheet, and there's like a pivot table will give you like what data, what set of data you want to calculate, and it give you like the sum and everything, which is so much easier and faster as just compared to doing a large data and do it by hand. So that is the example, and I'll go back to the PowerPoint. So as you can see in the video, you're just transferring, just like the time of, just have to be patient as, for the final answers or the final numbers at the end. So she has to, to put like going back and forth with all of the data and transferring all of that. And so that's, in the end, it's more easier. And as you can see, Excel has a function where it can read the data and code in that, so it can help the accountant to calculate the numbers, even though we have to be patient and know like the name for crunching the numbers into an Excel. So what are the major takeaways of AI impact on accounting? So AI and the cloud work together to compute a massive amount of data in every short period of time. So this service streamlines the operations by saving time, cutting the cost, increasing productivity, and providing more accurate results. And so I will also shift gear a bit to a topic of finance, specifically to the consumer finance budget. And so as we're looking at the inner work of accounting, so I want to also look into the AI in the finance view, particularly in the consumer finance budget. So consumers all are wanted to manage one's financial health is a driving force behind the adoption of an AI in personal finance. So and how does it use in the finance? So lots of banks and like such as Wells Fargo, BOA, JP Morgan now have the adopted key fraud detecting applications for account holders. So for example, it has like implemented a proprietary algorithm to detect fraud patterns. So each time a credit card transaction is processed, details of the transaction are sent to the central computers in banks' data centers, which then decide whether or not the transaction is fraudulent, which is really helpful. So an example of this, I would say, from our personal phones, so the touching ID or the facial expression recognition of an iPhone, which is really helpful as um, of saving our documents or trusting the bank. So here's the one of the example that I had of BOA that they use that for like an online banking app for customer to have access to and can look at their transactions, or they can pay it online for their expenses. I'll share it right now.
Pay bills anytime, almost anywhere, with your Bank of America mobile banking app. To get started, open your app, sign in, and click on Bill Pay. Entering bill information is easy, and you only have to do it once. Make sure you have a copy of your bill handy. To start, select Add Payee and begin by choosing whether you want to add a company or a person. Enter a company name to search the list of major businesses. If the company is found, all you have to do is enter an optional nickname. The account number.
So here, I want to mention a bit about, so as of right now, lots of companies now, before they can pay any like payees or any companies, they have to verify their before they can get their account number, they have to verify their that they're using the mobile app. So actually the BOA or Wells Fargo would have this, and it will send you like a code into your phone, which will then give them like a clear idea that you're using your own personal account without there's like a theft that are using it, which is really helpful.
And zip code. Click on Save, and you are finished setting up your payee. If you don't find the company you're looking for, you can.
So I just want to touch a little bit on this because it's really helpful, and I think that the accounting is the crunching numbers down of the transaction inside of a of a company, and the finance is how that help the consumers, to meet their desired needs. And so I will go back to PowerPoint and start my video. And so in the conclusion, I want to sum up with the idea of triple tipping point as we talked about that we talked in class of the topic, and how does it affect, in this case, which are technology and accounting and finance industry. There are three values of the triple tipping points are technology, regulations, and culture. So on the surface, it looks like for us that we are in a technological revolutionary. So as technology continue to rise today, AI come out as something that lots of businesses industry consider as how to use technology for advancement. So yet there are regulations of government that require for a company not depends on AI much, since it's only focusing on the data. But we as a human, we need to work and research on how to access it and analyze it, as it helping to calculate numbers in some of the cases. As I was talking about the accounting, how does it, how Excel and the workbook and ERP software help accountant do the work. And culture also become a big part of all these, because in the end we all wanted to have a, one phrase that I always use is fast and furious life. We were living with an era where technology and human will work together and continue to make the new generation even more better than before. And that is the rest of my presentation, and thank you.